Imagine standing in a crowded subway car. Someone brushes past you. They didn't reach into your pocket or touch your wallet, but they still walked away with your credit card details. In that fraction of a second, a concealed device, like a Flipper Zero, sent out a wireless pulse, intercepted your card's data, and saved it. We trust our life savings to a tiny piece of plastic, yet we're carrying technology that can be robbed without the thief ever breaking a sweat or even making eye contact. To understand how this works, we have to look inside the card. The fastest way is to drop it into a beaker of acetone. As the plastic dissolves, it exposes a hidden architecture of copper and silicone. A microchip sits at the center of a wide antenna grid, built to transmit data through the air. This complex internal design is the result of a decades-long arms race between banking engineers and organized crime. To see if our money is truly safe, we need to investigate these layers one by one, tracing the technology back from its current vulnerabilities to its origins in Cold War espionage. In the 1950s, the post-war economy was surging. Banks needed a way for people to spend money faster, leading to the first universal credit cards. The problem was the processing speed. Cashiers had to use manual machines to physically imprint card numbers onto carbon copy slips, and banks took days to clear the funds. IBM eventually solved this bottleneck in the 1970s by ironing magnetic audio tape directly onto the back of the plastic. This stripe holds your account details in a static, unmoving code. As magnetic dust settles on the stripe, you can see the ones and zeros of the binary data physically locked into place. That static code made transactions fast, but it also made them easy to steal. Anyone with a card reader, a skimmer, could swipe your card, copy that fixed code, and reuse it indefinitely. By prioritizing transaction speed over encryption, banks created a goldmine for fraud syndicates. As long as the data was static, it could never be secure. The banking industry eventually responded to the skimming crisis with a new global standard, the EMV chip. That gold square functions as a complete computer on a sliver of silicon. It is equipped with its own processor and memory, capable of running complex cryptographic commands. When inserted, the payment terminal sends a string of random numbers to the chip. The chip uses a secret key in its memory to mathematically scramble that number, generating a unique, one-time code that it sends back to the terminal to authorize the purchase. Because the code changes with every single transaction, a skimmer grabbing the data gets a key that has already expired. This computer-to-computer handshake successfully blocked the cloners, but it added significant friction back into the checkout line. Those few extra seconds of processing time added up to millions of hours of waiting every year. Engineers needed the instant speed of the magnetic stripe, combined with the dynamic security of the chip. That meant the chip needed to process data wirelessly, without a battery. The blueprint for this came from 1945, when Soviet schoolchildren gave the U.S. ambassador a hand-carved wooden plaque of the Great Seal. Hidden inside was a listening device with no battery and no power source. It remained undetected for 7 years because it stayed totally dormant until it was remotely activated. This was the work of inventor Leon Theremin. To listen in, the Soviets blasted radio waves at the building. When those waves hit the bug's antenna, they caused electrons to oscillate, creating an electrical current. When people spoke, sound waves moved a thin diaphragm. This altered the circuit's capacitance, modulating the radio signal that bounced back to the Soviets with the audio hidden inside. Theremin had developed this revolutionary contactless technology while imprisoned in a Soviet gulag. Modern engineers repurposed this exact physics for your credit card. The reader emits a magnetic field that induces a current in the card's antenna, powering the chip. The chip then modulates that field to send its secure, dynamic code back to the bank. By repurposing the physics of the Great Seal bug, card designers finally resolved the tension between security and speed. They created a system where a secure digital handshake occurs the moment the card enters the reader's magnetic field. This brings us back to the subway thief and the Flipper Zero scanning your pocket. Even if they successfully scan your card, the chip's dynamic cryptography makes the stolen data useless for cloning. They have a code that only worked for a fraction of a second. However, a loophole called ghost tapping still exists. A thief can use a portable reader to force a small, real-time transaction directly from your pocket before you even know they're there. While Cold War physics secured the data, the convenience of contactless payments created a new kind of physical vulnerability. To fix this, banks are now moving cards into mobile smartphone wallets. Mobile wallets require biometric authentication, like a fingerprint or facial scan, before the antenna even turns on. Plus, they never transmit your actual card number to the merchant. But the arms race never ends. Hackers are already finding ways around these biometric walls. Watch what happens when this locked iPhone touches a payment terminal and a $10,000 charge goes through. The quest to balance frictionless convenience with total security is a constant battle, forcing us to re-examine the safety of the tools we use every day.